Okay, now we're on to the bumper. So, this box that holds the license plate and the tag light, somebody's already tore up, has got to come off there. It don't have to come off there in order for me to make this look like I want it to look. It has to. And guess what? It's got 4 carriage bolts, two on the ends and 2 on the top there. And they are seized up like you wouldn't believe. So, I'm trying to get them loose. I've got a 9/16 box in an old-fashioned one that you know, not the ratcheting type that I could tear up. Not that I can't tear this up, because I could tear up a ball bearing with a rubber mallet about half the time, but I hadn't been able to get it to move at all. And I've had it soaking in Croyle penetrant for quite some time, and I haven't moved it yet. I just moved that one though. Yay! That's one. Now, no mechanic trick here. When you're breaking something loose, it doesn't hurt to start like you're tightening it. Just a little. Just move it just a little in that direction, and that kind of breaks the rust loose. Then move it back, kind of work it back and forth. Well, it don't like it, does it? It's whining and crying about it every inch of the way. It's turning. I think it's actually turning the nut, not the bolt. I'm not going to complain anymore about, oh, whoever had this before me didn't take care of it. Well, okay, it was their truck. They could do with it what they want. And if riding it hard is all they cared about, that's fine. That's their business. It was their truck. You do what they want. So it doesn't do any good for me to gripe about it. Just expect things like that. Now I bet I can use the old ratchet wrench on it. By golly, that's one. Good old Croyle. This one here don't want to move though. I done hit it with a hammer. Haven't moved it. I just did. It ain't easy. Let's put some more oil on. See if we can ratchet that off very good. That's 2. 2 more to go. I'm telling you, not sponsored, but this is the stuff. That's the best penetrating oil I ever used. We used it by the gallon at the manufacturing facility that I worked at in Lawton, Oklahoma. They got buying it in 55-gallon drums, and the technicians would just fill up their squirt bottles with it. Done. So you're supposed to cover up the license plate. I think this one says Pappy on it. It's in invisible ink, so you can't see it. You know, I'll clean that up, replace that light, and it's done. So, let me put some tools up, stuff out of the way. So here's the skinny on this. So this is the original bumper from the 1976 K5 Blazer. You can see it's not in terrible condition. It's got a little poke out right there, another one right there. Those will go back in easy. And it's got a dip right up here. And oddly enough, it lined up perfectly with the tailgate hinge. So I'm thinking they had a high lift or something on it, had it pushed up, and then decided to open the tailgate for some reason and bent it with that. But none of it is not fixable, I don't think. There's some rust along. This is about the only real rust on it, is right along in here. Of course, there's rust around the bolt holes. But I'm thinking it'll clean up. I think we're gonna try it. So, I finally came up with a category for the build that I'm doing on the K5. You know, when you buy say you buy a lawnmower, and the old lawnmower is they have different grades of lawnmower. And they have, the lowest is the consumer grade. You know, you got a little yard, you're not gonna mow a whole lot. You get a consumer model. But if you're a pro, and you're doing it for a living, and you're mowing big areas, and you're putting lots of hours on it, you wanna get a lot better grade of lawnmower than that, so you get a professional grade, a commercial grade lawnmower. But they've got another category kind of in between pro and consumer. And they call it prosumer. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing with this this Blazer. This certainly isn't going to be a what I'd call a budget build, where all I'm trying to do is just get it to run and get it to where I can drive it and safely, and that's good enough. And it's certainly not going to be a concourse build, you know, where you spend oodles and gobs of money, which is probably what I'm going to do with that 71 over there. I just believe those 71s deserve it, or 67 through 72s. They're just too cool. And so I'll probably do that when I get back on it. But right now the focus is the Blazer, and it's in that middle category, prosumer-like area. Instead of prosumer, it's between budget and concourse. It's a budget. It's a budget course build. I don't know, but it's in that middle area, which means that, yeah, if this was a concourse build, of course, I'd just buy a new bumper and put it on there. If it was a budget build, I'd just clean this thing up and call it good. But what I'm gonna do is try to bring it back to as close to new as it was, and then decide, okay, is that good enough or is it not good enough? You know, and if it ain't, then I'll spend the 250 bucks or whatever it is and put a new bumper on it. But that's what we're gonna do first. We're gonna try to fix it up. So, here's the back side of it. It looks real rusty, but it's not. It's just scale, like most of the underneath side of that truck. Now, I can't understand why the bottom side of that truck is in as good a shape as it is. The floors aren't rusted through. They're not rusty at all. Just some scale on everything. The frame is good, everything. But then you look at the outside of it, and the fenders are rusted through, the doors are rusted through, all the panels are rusted through. And I think that probably has to do with the way that the Chevrolet Blazer of that era, where it traps mud. I think, you know, you get mud thrown up in it, and it all kind of gets trapped in certain areas, and that's where it rusts through. Wheel openings, they rust out. Right there between the door and the front wheel opening, it's got a big rust hole there. I'm looking at it right now. So anyways, that's what we got. Now maybe I ought to try to fix this little, there's that dent right there. It's not bad. It's just not bad at all. Matter of fact, if I couldn't improve that any at all, I might be tempted to just leave it. I think I can improve it. Maybe I ought to do that before I start rubbing it down. Maybe I ought to do it right now. I don't know. It's about this long, but it dips a 1/4 inch maybe in this, you know, with this right here being the deepest part of it. I'm thinking maybe a C-clamp and some, get pressure on it and then try to alleviate you know, tap around on the back side of it. And don't worry, I'm not fixing to put this piece of steel on that chrome and push with it. I just want to see how far it's got to go. A little more than I thought. And it's hard to tell because by the time it gets to here, the bumper's already curving naturally anyway. So it's somewhere in between there. That's pretty significant though. That's about a ½ inch, or maybe a little more. I don't know if I can get that out of there or not. But we're gonna find out. Well, it's moved a lot, but I got a feeling it'd spring back. Well, I'm gonna bet you $1 to the hole in the donut that when I let this pressure off, it's gonna spring right back. What I need to do is get some pressure on it, and then with a soft hammer on this chrome, of course, beat around the perimeter of it, tap around the perimeter of it to kind of push it back in, or I don't know, I don't understand the metal part of that. I've watched a million YouTube videos on it, and there's some people in there that are geniuses and I ain't. But the problem is, I can't hammer where I need to hammer with all this apparatus in the way. So maybe I need to let off on it, then do some relieving. I wish I could do them both at the same time, but I just don't see how I can. Although, I let it sit for a little bit like that. You know, I turn it until, boy, it just don't want to turn anymore. Then let it sit for 30 seconds or a minute or whatever, and then come back and it turns a little more. So, you know, maybe I'm persuading, instead of forcing, I'm persuading that steel to straighten out. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I doubt I'm ever gonna get that little dip perfect. As it turned out, that was deeper than I thought it was. It's more like ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch. But if I can reduce that by 50%, then I'm a happy camper. I can work with that. I can live with that probably. You know, truth is, I never noticed it until I really got to looking for problems. If I can bring this back to almost perfect, then now we're in the prosumer category where I live. See that? And then now it don't turn no more. But I moved it from here to here. Oh baby, that's looking good. Like I said, it's gonna spring back, I guarantee you, but we'll see. Now Tanya uses this oak, Grandma does, to, she makes the coolest little coffee tables and stuff out of that oak. She puts a real thick epoxy finish on them. The knot holes and stuff, she'll fill them with decorative rocks and stuff, and then fill the whole thing with epoxy. Man, it really looks cool. And everybody likes them, people want them. And this is some of her oak. It's oak that I used for the treads on the winder staircase in the apartment. And well, it's beautiful. Really pretty. Okay, let's see if we can turn it any more. We're getting close to the point where it's going to get flat and we're not going to turn it. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't turn it much, you see it. I can still see a little dip right in here. But also the bumper is starting to curve down too. So I don't want to get too aggressive with that. Waiting a few seconds just to let it. Yeah, just so as you know, I was talking about this Croy a while ago. I have no sponsorship whatsoever. Grandma sponsors me because she, kind of likes me. After 45 years of marriage, she's finally starting to get used to me. But that's all the sponsorship I got is Grandma. So, Anyway, all right, let's take this off. Let's see what it looks like. Oh yeah, it's bending right back. It's just bringing right back where it was. But maybe I've improved it some. Yeah, I notice I've turned it about 4 turns and it's still not loose. That tells me that I didn't accomplish a whole lot there. Yeah, not much. Not much. Not much at all. Okay, well, some, not much. What happens if I don't know if I gotta get a dolly and put behind that. Maybe if I just put a dolly behind it, I could get that to do a little more. Can't hit that with a body hammer. I don't want to damage that chrome. Here's some 4/0 steel wool. What happens if I do this? Wow, you can't even tell I did anything. Works a lot better when you watch it on YouTube, on TV. Them guys like, oh, okay, this is all you got to do, and it'll be like brand new. Yeah, it's not happening. Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to use some oil with that, I think. I don't have any WD-40, I'm out of it. Don't use it for much. I got better oils than that. Wow, that didn't do nothing. Actually, that did do something. Cool. But it looks good from afar, but far from good. So, I did some more studying. I don't know if I've improved this any at all. Okay. Another day in the shop. We're having our typical Oklahoma weather. Yesterday it was 82 degrees outside. I got up pretty early this morning, around 4:30 or so. Went outside, looked at the thermometer. Wind was slight breeze out of the south and it was 64 degrees. It's about 10:30. Between 10:30 and 11 now. The wind's blowing hard out of the north and it is about 50 degrees. Weird, huh? So, I'm not gonna work underneath the K5 this morning because I have an appointment a little later on and I don't wanna get all dirty before I go to it. So, I had this bumper off. And I've been trying to get this dent right here out of it. And the truth is, even though there's definitely still a dent there, it is way better than it was when I started on it. And I'm learning lessons. One is, so I've never done any body work before. And when I got my 71, I started working on the bed on it. I've got the bed taken off of it and it's up on a wheeled dolly, where I can get around it and get work on it. And I've already replaced the front panel, the header panel. I put a new one of those on because the other one was beyond repair. But there's body damage on it. You know, once I took all the paint off of it, I found all the Bondo underneath, you know, of course that's the way it goes, salvage yard bumper. but it was better than the rusted out one that I had. And so, you know, I learned some lessons on sheet metal. Of course, I'm watching YouTube and watching these geniuses that do this for a living. I'm not one of those, that's for sure. Not a genius, and I don't do it for a living. But anyway, I'm finding out that this chrome bumper is a whole lot different animal than that 18 gauge metal on that bed. This don't move as easy. So what I'm down to now is I still have this low area right here. And I guess when it got dented, it pushed the steel out and it caused a high spot right here, which you can see I've just about got it worked down. This point right here was where it was the highest, and now it's almost the same level as that. And using hammer and dolly techniques, and this being chrome, of course, I can't use a regular body hammer on it. So I'm using this, and it's working. It seems to work. Hammer off dolly is more correct. I'm still a little high right here, and then of course I'm low right here. So what I'm doing now is trying to work this down at the same time as, you know, and from what I can read and what I can learn, and what I'm doing is, technically this metal, when it gets pushed in, it stretches. So now it's way more metal. So I need to shrink it, and the way you shrink it is you tap around the perimeter of the dent, and that weakens it or loosens it. I don't know what the heck it does. It's beyond my scope. But it's working. Whatever I'm doing, whether I'm doing it right or wrong, it's working. I don't have any idea that I'm going to get this back to perfect. I just don't think I can. Probably there's those of you out there that could, but this is heavy steel. This ain't that 18 gauge, that, you know, that sheet metal. This is pretty heavy stuff. And the fact that I've moved it at all, I'm taking that as a win. But so what I'm doing now is I've got this is oak. This is an oak block, and I'm putting it right over the lowest spot. It was about this long, and so I couldn't clamp it up. I'm using a clamp, and I'll just go ahead and do it. I'm using this clamp to pull it up, and the metal pulls right up to the block. It really does. But then if I was to just let off of it right now, it'd spring back. So I'm using the clamp basically, and this pressure point right here as my dolly. And I'm hammering off dolly here and here. And believe it or not, it's working some. Now this is loud and a lot of banging and everything, and so we'll edit a lot of this out, but I just wanted you to be able to see what it is that I'm doing. It's working. There's probably methods that would work better, but it's working. So let's tap around on this. Don't hit it hard. You're not forcing it, you're encouraging it. And I'm starting on the outside working in, and that might be backwards. Maybe I should be hitting closer to the pressure point, but it seems to me like that just makes the dent worse, or would just make you logically thinking. In my mind, I'm trying to fold it back in. Well, I think I've about got that high spot out of it. It's just a little bit. So if I'm pushing it in, it's got to be going somewhere, right? Maybe it actually is shrinking. I don't know. That's what they tell me I'm doing. That's what I'm shrinking. I have a hard time getting my head wrapped around that. But technically it may be right. So now I'm going to take the clamp off and see how much it springs back. And it's going to spring back some. I know it will. But each time I do it, it springs back less and less. So that tells me that I'm doing something right. I mean, obviously it's still got a dip right in here. And with this bumper, I may not ever get that completely out of there, but it's way better than it was. You know, folks, I don't hate it. I'm still a little high right here. And a little low, obviously, right here. Using a little straight edge here. have a good stare ruler somewhere. So you can see I'm up probably between 1/4 and 3/8 of an inch. And when I started, it was more like 3/4 of an inch. So I know I'm doing some good. So I think the thing to do, and my chat advisor, whom I refer to as Einstein, I'm giving him credit, he says clamp it up and leave it for a couple hours. I don't know if that'd do any good or not. But since I'm gonna go to this meeting here in a little while, I got time to clamp it up and leave it for a little bit. The next thing I'm gonna do, once I get done messing with this, whether that's pretty quick or tomorrow or whatever, is I've got some 4/0 steel wool here, and I'm gonna try to bring the luster back in this thing. In the videos that I've been watching, they do this. They use a little WD-40 in the steel wool. They get with the program, boy, they rub for just a little while and then go, look here, look how good it looks. So I thought, well, heck, that ain't bad. You know, they got right after it. Looked good. The only problem is they didn't tell me that they edited out the portion where they actually rubbed it for an hour for one little spot. You know, yeah, they left that part out. Yeah, I know, I'm doing two things at once. I ought to concentrate on one, then work on the other. But where's the fun in that? I mean, heck, if you're gonna put rules down for me, then I'll just quit and go watch TV. I don't do rules very good. I'm not a rules guy. Okay, boy, that took a lot of that dullness out of it. Now, hopefully that polish will really bring it back. We'll find out. Now that I've got WD-40 introduced into the deal though, I wonder how that'll affect it when I go to polish it. So I'm always overthinking everything. Most people would probably just go, look, just put it on there and shut up. Okay. Trying to get it as clean as I can. But the deal is, I've spent a lot of time getting that dent out, and even if I don't use this bumper, it's proved to be a learning experience for me, for sure. And the reason I say I may not use the bumper is because, and you can't see it on the camera, but right up here on the top where I've worked it with steel wool and compound and even polish or wax or whatever, it's just not shiny. It's not, and it may be that this is so old and crappy that it ain't never gonna come back. This corner right here is just real shiny. If I could get this to look like that, but I suspect that because of where this is, it kind of tucks around the corner of the pickup and didn't get as much direct sunlight as the top of this thing did. And I won't quit on it. But if I can't bring this back quite a bit, then I'll probably spy another bumper. In my catalog for classic trucks in Oklahoma City, I have an old catalog, and so the prices are, you know, no longer correct. But I think for about $250 I can get or somewhere in that neighborhood, to get a whole new bumper. Now, I don't think that it'll be as good a bumper as this one. This is a 1976 GM product where I'm sure that no matter where you go and what you do, and I'm not trying to say anything about my good friends up there in Oklahoma City, but it's probably gonna be made in China, not good. You know what I mean? That's just, it won't be as good. Now, if you don't hit anything with it, it doesn't really matter. It's more for looks than anything else. Not really. Not really. Yeah, I think Mother Nature has done to this thing what I can't bring back. Say that a lot. So I've got here some white diamond metal polish with long-lasting sealant. Removes oxidization and discoloration from aluminum, brass, stainless steel, returning surface to a brilliant shine. Okay. And here's some Mother's mag and aluminum polish. Perfect for all metals, shines and protects. Well, they ain't advertising as good as them. These people are claiming this is a miracle here. It's vanilla scented too. That's a major thing. That's, you know, not all places, you know, not all products have vanilla scent. Right. I'm gonna give her a shot. The old white diamond, vanilla scent, white diamond. Man, I should have shook that up first. It is vanilla scent. And I may drink this instead of use it. Boy, that smells good. So this is like going to require actual manual labor here. Yeah, could be worse. I mean, I grew up hoeing cotton, so, and hauling hay. So this ain't that. Wow, you're not gonna believe this, folks. Doesn't appear to have helped it a dang bit. Still ugly. Still ugly. We're buffing now. Different part of the rag. That was the wiping portion of the rag I used first. Now this is the buffing. I'm buffing now. Okay. So the truth is, it looks better. It does look better, but it don't look like this at all. And I don't think it's ever going to. I think what you see is what you get on this. So I'm gonna call it quits on the bumper for a while. Like I said, this ain't a budget build, it's a prosumer build. It's the in-between. So that's it. I'm gonna leave the bumper project here. Oh, I got the new gas tank in yesterday, and getting a few pieces off the old one. The vent tube that goes up to the fill cap. I have to use it or buy another one. It was crappy looking. So I ground all the rusty scaly junk off of it and cleaned it up good. Then I hung it up over there and shot some primer on it. When that primer sets up, I'm gonna paint it. And remember, the accents on this truck are purple, so might as well paint it purple. So I'm doing that off camera because nobody wants to watch me spray paint. So that, and then it's gonna have to be get back underneath that K5 and start digging more mud out. I'll show you that here in a little while, the amount of mud that I've got off of. I'll bet there's 30 pounds of mud chunks laying on a tarp underneath that thing, and I'm not done. So that'll be fun to watch, fun to mess with. Okay, so here's the bumper. The bumper. I got it too far to that side of the table. I can't really reach it good, but I wanted y'all to be able to see it, see what's going on here. So we had a twofold issue with the bumper. First, obviously, is filthy and grimy and rusty and all that. But after watching quite a few videos on it, I saw the way people brought that chrome back, and I thought, okay, maybe I can do that. So I went ahead and, okay, let me back up a little bit. But this dent right here, I felt like there wasn't any point in working on the chrome if I couldn't get this dent out successfully. Well, success is a two-edged sword. I guess what I'm trying to say is perfect would have been total success. Decent, which is what I ended up with. If I could have got the chrome to shine, it would have been all right. I could have lived with that right there. I brought that out about, I don't know, 70%. But the last 30%, it just wasn't going to go. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about about moving steel around, about how steel stretches when it gets dented, and how you have to actually shrink the steel to get it to come back. Well, this bumper material is heavy steel. And I still moved it quite a ways. It's nothing like the 18 gauge stuff that's on a panel of on a side panel or something on a vehicle. And I just feel like, okay, I didn't really win that battle, but I learned a whole lot. I learned a whole lot about moving that stuff around. And I believe that if I'm faced with the same issue with 18 gauge metal, I think I could really succeed. But I got this up enough that I thought, all right, I could live with that if I can get this chrome back. Well, folks, let me show you. This right here was my goal. But you can see how from about right here on, it gets really dull. I spent quite a bit of time from here to here to get it to that, and it's no good. So then I really concentrated on this area right here, and Tanya helped me, she worked on it too. We used everything. We started with steel wool like they show in all the videos, and the steel wool took the top coat off of it, not the top coat chrome. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the grime and the rust and all that, and it did a pretty good job taking it off, because this looked like this, and it did. So, you know, following the directions of other people, we tried 2 or 3 different methods. We started out, I used rubbing compound. Worked and worked and worked and worked. But when I'd wipe it off, it still was dull. I was never getting to this shiny stuff right here. It just wasn't happening. And so then I took some brake clean and just started over with a clean slate. Got it good and smooth and clean. Then I used polishing compound. And again, I'm not sponsored by anybody, but the best stuff that I found that I had, not the best stuff that I found because I didn't go hunting for it, was this white diamond product. And I liked it. It did pretty good. But it's still dull. We're better here. From here to here is decent. From here to here is unacceptable. And from here on out was what we was trying to get it to look like. And I actually had a piece of tape right here to separate this from this, because I wanted to see the remarkable difference, you know what I mean? And it is remarkably different, but I hadn't touched this. But folks, it's just dull. And I believe that 50 years of the sun baking this stuff, it ain't coming back. It ain't coming back. And Grandma had said, you know, that dent's okay, I can live with that dent. And I said, fine, but I can't live with a bumper that ain't like this right here. It's gonna have to shine for me. And I just never could get it there. So the verdict is between 200 and 250 bucks, I can buy a new bumper. So that's what I'm gonna do. I am wearing my hat today. I had spent so much time with the power washer and degreaser underneath that truck that my hat looked like it was just totally impregnated with grease. I took this hat and threw it out there on the driveway and hosed it down with that Dawn heavy duty stuff, and waited about a half hour and then went out there with a pressure washer and just hammered it. I stood on one side of the hat while I washed it with, And it came out pretty good. I got my hat back, so I'm back wearing it. Now I don't have to mess up a good hat. This is my work hat. So anyway, not that that matters, but the verdict on the bumper is we decided that it just wasn't ever going to be good enough for what we want. So new bumpers coming in the future. And thanks for watching.